evening. What's happening? Good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for joining me. I'm the Truth Conductor up in the house. Um, Hope everybody had a wonderful day today. This was my Sabbath. Um, I don't do tours on Saturdays. We only do tours Sunday through Friday. Got the best tours in the city, as a matter of fact. Let me show you the history that I bring with my tours that nobody else can bring. See, I ran for mayor of Washington, D.C. against Marion Barry. You see how that went, don't you? But I did. I ran for mayor in 1994 when I was a Democrat. I ran against Marion Barry for mayor. I was a street vendor. And I was fighting the corruption in the police department, and they told me I was lying. And I just said to the guy, I said, man, if I got to run for mayor to tell this story, I will. And Sergeant Everett looked at me and he said, Mr. Folden, you're a street vendor. Don't waste your time. I said, what did you say? He said, you're a street vendor. Ain't nobody gonna listen to you. I took it as an insult. I should have listened, but I didn't. I took it as an insult and walked right into Board of Election and said, what I got to do to run for mayor? They said, raise your right hand. Here's some petitions. We need 2,000 ballot signatures. And I went out and got them. Got on the ballot. And got about 189 votes, too. You know, I didn't get zero. I got 189. So at least I touched 189. It's the first time out the box. So that's the kind of history that I bring to my tours. See, I can tell these young kids, you know, what it's like to be a street vendor, you know, and to show them that they can do the same thing. They can start out as a street vendor and develop their own Black History tours of DC. They can do the same thing. It's that this knowledge is there for them because it's just rotting on the vines. That's all Black History is doing. It's just dying on the vines because ain't nobody using it. And what I'm trying to do is preserve it. And you know, and I can't do it preserve it by myself. I need other people to see the value of this. And if we never see the value of our own history, we can't get mad at white people because they don't see no value in our history. We don't see value in our own history. You know, yeah, I sit at the White House every day. Man, you know how many black folk I see come by there on other tours that I ain't even Google Black History tours of DC. You know, if you let me see, let me as a matter of fact, let me just see what's gonna come up. Let me just see what'll come up. I haven't Googled it a lot lately. Let's see what comes up. Okay? Viator. That's who I started with. 2023 Private Black History Tour, Washington, D.C. KB Tours. That's the other Black History Tour company. Daily African American Heritage Tours of Washington, D.C. Uh, Washington, D.C. African American History Tour Guide. 20 best African American tours in Washington, D.C. Really? So I'm trying to see, where am I? Finally, I come up. Capital Buddy Tours. Finally, I come up. I sure do. Finally. But that's all right, because they're going to come looking for me. They're going to come. And see, I've been doing this now. This is my 7th year of being in the business with the tours. And when I first started my Black History tours, a lot of people, there was only 2 other companies that was doing tours. One was called DCN Black Tours, and the other one was called KB Tours. DCN Black Tours, I think they out of business. I think they actually went out of business because she had a really crappy kind of website, and because I had DCBlackTours.com, some people thought she was me and sent her a lot of threats, and she actually put a comment on my website about how she had DC and Black Tours, and she didn't know why I wanted to use DC Black Tours, and she got DC and Black Tours, and she didn't know why I didn't use Capital Buddy Tours of my company. Well, the reason is because Capital Buddy Tours is going to be the landing page for any black tour in the country. That there is no place on the internet that you can find a Black History tour anywhere in the country. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. Okay? And that's why I developed Capital Buddy Tours. DC Black Tours will comprise all of the Black History tours that I have in Washington, D.C. So those are 2 different tour companies right there. One local and one countrywide. See, so that's two separate streams of income right there. Right? 2 totally separate streams of income. See, because not only will I be able to book Black History tours all over the country, but I can also go in cities and start setting up tours for young kids to show them how to take the history of their city and set up a tour. So now you ain't got to sell no dope. Now you ain't got to go out here and steal. See, now you ain't got to go out here and be stupid. And you don't need a college education to do this. Tourism is one of the few professions that's left that you don't need a college degree. Tourism. See, that's how powerful this is. And right now, we got a lot of kids who the educational system has failed. They can't get out here and get in the job market because they don't have the educational requirements, but they can get in tourism. See, now they can get in tourism. All they got to do is have the desire to learn, to be a good storyteller. That's all a good tour guide is. a good storyteller. See? And once you learn how to tell stories, then you learn how to stretch them. And you stretch them by adding filler information. Okay? No, they don't. And I wanna show these kids how they operate in the Underground Railroad. What's going on, Dan? They operate in the Underground Railroad and don't even realize it. See, this is what's so fascinating about our history, that right now we subconsciously operate in the Underground Railroad and don't even know. See, because the Underground Railroad was nothing but a code system that was only known by us. What do you mean code system? Nicknames. That's all codes were. Nicknames. And right now, you have more black people that are known by their nicknames than they are by their real names. The Underground Railroad. Ask any black person for some directions. In them directions, they're going to put you a landmark. See, because when the sky was clear, we had to follow the North Star for directions. But when it was cloudy, we had to be experts at landmarks. Okay? And you can ask, I don't care how old or how young, ask them for some directions. In them directions, they're going to give you a landmark, man. The Underground Railroad. When you see this, turn left or turn right. Bear right. I remember my grandson was a freshman at The Ohio State University. And he wanted to be in the marching band. He's a trumpet player. And I went to see him on Family and Friends Day. And when I get at the car, Granddaddy, man, I saw a sign that reminded me of you. I said, boy, you smoking reefer already? He said, no, quit playing, Granddaddy, quit playing. He said, come over here and see this sign. So we walk over to this little plaque, this marker, and it was dedicated to the Underground Railroad. We was reading information on it, and then it says, this is marker 4 of 5. And he said, Granddaddy, it's 5 markers on this campus. We got 5, and we found all 5 of them. There are 5 markers dedicated to the Underground Railroad on the campus of The Ohio State University. Why we don't know that? You know, in 2016, Georgetown University had to admit in 1838 they sold 271 slaves to stay afloat. They just admitted it in 2016. They sold them people in 1838. See, there are so many white universities that have their fingers in slavery, and we are not aware of it. And seeing the thing with Georgetown, if you had 270 to sell, how many did you own? See, that's the question that needs to be asked. How many did you own? Nobody's asking that question. And see, they're only providing an education to the new family. They ain't providing a free education to the family that was torn apart. You see, that's why our bloodlines are so screwed up. You got black people that's related and don't even know it, and married to each other. See, because when they sold you into slavery, you left your name behind. They gonna give you a new name, and now that's a new bloodline. And see, we have so many people that were so carrying names that's not the original bloodline. You see, that's why it's so hard to separate races, because everybody's bloodlines are mixed up, man. Everybody's bloodline mixed. Ain't no bloodline pure. None whatsoever. You ain't gonna find one pure bloodline in the world, but it ain't but one blood. God diggity dog. God, man, man, man. I mean, look, listen to that. You ain't gonna find one pure bloodline in the world, but it ain't but one blood. Ain't but one blood, man. Ain't but one blood. But you gonna find one pure bloodline. That's deep. I don't care if you don't like it. I like it myself. I like that myself. It ain't but one blood, man. That's all it is one blood. One blood. But there's not one pure bloodline. Ain't that something? That's and now that will put a new wrinkle on your brain. Ain't no pure bloodlines, man, in the world. Some Everybody's bloodline is contaminated with somebody or something. See, everybody's bloodline is contaminated with something else, with somebody else. Ain't no pure bloodlines, man. But it ain't but one blood. Ain't but one blood. That's all it is, one blood. Shoot, somebody need to hit my cash out for that. Y'all need to hit my cash out for that one. But that's good right there, buddy. I ain't lying. And see, this is how. I mean, give an example. Show you what I'm talking about. Solomon Northrop, 12 Years a Slave, happened right here in D.C. If you look at the movie, the whole gist of the movie is him getting back a message to a white man. See, before the 1835 snow riots in Washington, D.C., that was the first race riot in D.C. The white workers at the Navy Yard went on strike. And the free and enslaved black labor didn't participate. See, how the city leaders kept white workers in check was with the free and enslaved black labor. See, that's why, the further south you go, you don't see a whole lot of white men, because they didn't want to compete with the free and enslaved black labor. So when the white workers at the Navy Yard went on strike, the free and enslaved black labor didn't participate, and the strike didn't work, and they got pissed off. Okay? A young black man was drunk, and he went into the widow of Dr. William Thornton, who was the architect of the Capitol, and said that he had been hanging around John F. Cook's school, that he had every right to be free. And the rumor started that D.C. had its own Nat Turner. Okay? So this 1835, the Nathaniel Turner uprising was 1831. Now notice I said Nathaniel Turner, because If you use the name Nat Turner on the Underground Railroad, they wouldn't trust you because they don't know where you're getting your information from. See, Nathaniel means God sent, and he was hanged in Jerusalem, Virginia. Okay, so if you use the name Nat Turner, then they ain't gonna trust you. It's just like if you thought Uncle Tom was a buffoon on the Underground Railroad, they ain't gonna trust you. See, on the Underground Railroad, Uncle Tom meant brave warrior on the Underground Railroad. See, a lot of the meanings that we have, society has taken them and twisted them to just the opposite. See, because now they got Uncle Tom as a buffoon, as a clown, but in reality, Uncle Tom was the one sitting by the door. He's the one. Man, let me tell you how good black folk had to be back in the day. You had black people that were so good, they could stand in a room full of white people and be invisible. White people be so comfortable with them, they forget they're even there. That's how good they were. And they sitting there listening to everything going on. See, that's how we got our information. Because we had to be invisible in a room full of people. They had to be so comfortable with us that they forget we even in the room. And they talking all their business. And we listening. You see, because it was against the law for us to learn how to read and write. See, that was against the law. An educated Negro was worthless to white people. All right, you were no good if you had an education. See, and those are the things that we value. And turn around and you look now at the generation that they don't give a damn about education. They could care less about education. Because they can get on social media and make as much money as they want as a high school dropout. They don't need an education. See, so for in a lot of senses, we done dropped the ball ourselves. See, our history is more than slavery. But you got some forces out here that ain't gonna let you get past slavery. They ain't gonna let you get past it. That's all they want you to see is slavery. And we own land. We own stuff. And it's only until integration is what messed up the black community. Let me say that again. Integration is what messed up the black community. Why is that true, conductor? Because the white man ice was colder. Let me say that again. Oh, what? True, conductor. The white man's ice was colder. And let me tell you why his ice was colder. Because 9 times out of 10, he had a machine that worked. And black folk didn't have. See, in the black community, you might have an ice box that ain't got no electricity to it. You see? So you stacking the ice up in there, and then by the time you get home, as hot as it is, half of the bag done ice, and your grandmama, boy, what you down there playing? I told you to come on back with that, but grandma, this is how I bought it. See, because we had inferior equipment, yes, a lot of times white folk ice was colder, because they had a freezer that worked, and we didn't. Okay? It's just that simple, man. It's just that simple. You see? So Integration was all about us getting away from the inferior. You see, because what we did, because we didn't have the credit lines, because we didn't have the access. We had to go along to get along with what we had. We had to be creative with what we had. And in a lot of senses, a lot of black businesses were put down because of that. Because they couldn't find the motors, they couldn't find the parts. You see, I mean, there are a lot of things that just like it was against the law for us to enter a contract. That's why when we got married, we had to jump the broom because it was against the law for us to enter a contract. The broom was our contract. See, they don't tell you that. They tell you black folk jumped the broom when they got married. They had to because they couldn't enter a contract. It was against the law. You see, and we still got to, we still had to get out here and survive as people. We still get out here and have to excel as a people, even though we have an inferior education, even though we have inferior housing, everything is inferior. We still had to excel at what we were doing. And I think this is probably the part that freaks most white people out because they don't understand how black folk were able to survive under the conditions that they were under. You see, I mean, black folk are good at taking nothing and making something out of it. When Master was throwing away all the scraps, the pig feet, the chitlins, the cow, the hog head. Man, we made delicacies out of all of that stuff. That's what we ate. That's how we had to survive. My grandmother was a maid for the most prominent doctor in our city, Dr. Merritt. And my grandmother bought me a brand new Volkswagen. And she asked me to come get her. And that's the one time my grandmother asked me to come get her. Because when I went to get her, I went around and knocked on the front door. Said, I'm here to pick up my grandmother. And she was hot. Boy, don't you know her? Goddamn, I ain't gonna never have your ass come up here and get me. Because I ain't going around to the back door. I'm gonna knock on the front door. And that's what, and Miss Mary, Miss Cora, your grandson out here. Miss Cora, your grandson out here. And my grandma, what is he doing at the front door? And I'm coming to get you. She's like, this ain't gonna work. My grandma said, this ain't gonna work. This just ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. You said, I'm not gonna have you come back and get me because this ain't gonna work. Because she knew I wasn't gonna change my mind. Because every time I came to get her, man, I was gonna come knock on the front door to get my grandmama. And see, and if I had stayed in Alabama with that kind of attitude, man, they probably end up killing me. I'd probably be dead by now. Because I was too defiant. You know, and they put defiant black people in their place. See, that's what folk don't understand. Man, when you defiant as a black person, they gonna put you in your place. You know, you ain't supposed to come out here and think you can, you know, uh, um, do the things that other people do. You're not supposed to dream that. You can't dream big. And this is what we showing these kids, that they got. You notice that the only thing they really glorify in the black community in movies is drug dealers. Have you noticed that? You know, that's what they glorify, drug dealers in the movies. You don't see a guy pulling himself up by his bootstraps, building an empire from nothing, doing it the right way. They glorify drug dealers, man. You know, so and that's what they're telling these young kids. The only way for you to get out is dope. Do something stupid. Do something illegal. And I'm saying that's not true. I got something better than dope. I got something you ain't that ain't gonna even won't even go bad. Dope will go bad. History ain't gonna never go bad. You can tell history from now to eternity, it ain't gonna go bad. You see, and that's all I'm trying to show some young kids, man. Is to come out here and think outside the box and be creative. Sell your own history. You know, and maybe this is what, you know, rouse people about me, because you know I like to be independent. I just like to be independent. So, you know, when I saw that they were building the Black History Museum, see, and this is another thing. Black history in DC is all about symbolism. What do you mean, true conductor? It was the 14th Amendment of the Constitution that gave us our freedom. Well, where's the Black History Museum located in D.C.? 14th and Constitution Avenue. That's where the Black History Museum is located. In the Senate Circle, behind the Capitol, is the Peace Memorial. That's America crying on the shoulders of history, who's reading off all of the names of the naval Civil War dead. But in the 1830s and 40s, that was an actual slave auction block right in the Senate Circle. So when I see that statue, I see America crying on the shoulders of history, who's reading off all of the names of the families that was torn apart right there in that same location. See, so and let me clarify something, because you know you have a lot of people that's running around saying that black folk own slaves, right? What black people did was they brought their family members out of slavery. You see, you take like Tobias Henson, owned 24 acres of land over in Anacostia. Tobias Henson had to use one of his daughters as collateral to buy the rest of his family members out of slavery. Okay? Because that was, see, again, before 1835, If you were free, you had to have 3 white people to vouch for you, and you had to put up a $50 peace bond before 1835. If you were free, you had to have 3 white people to vouch for you, and you had to put up a $50 peace bond. After the snow riots of 1835, that 3 white people went up to 5. That $50 peace bond went up to 500. Okay, just to prove you were free. And somebody could literally come and take your papers, sell you into slavery, and you could say, but Mr. Jailer, I'm a free man. You know what the jailer gonna tell you? That's what they all say. Haven't you heard that before? Man, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. And the first thing they're gonna tell you, that's what they all say. And you could be telling the truth. See, that's where that comes from. See, a lot of people don't realize when they hear the term go back is why is go back offensive? I mean, you ever thought about that? When somebody said, man, go back to where you came from, why is that offensive? Let me tell you why. Because of the American Colonization Act of 1812, I think. 1820, had to be 1812. In early 1800s, the American Colonization Act, who Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key, was one of the founding members. And their sole purpose was to send black folk back to Africa. Okay? Because they didn't think black folk belonged in America. So the American Colonization Act actually founded Liberia. Okay? That's who founded Liberia. The American Colonization Act. And you had some black folk like Marcus Garvey and Henry Highland Garnett. They were all for the Back to Africa movement. But folk like Frederick Douglass and the Peanut Man, they wasn't for that. They wasn't for going back to Africa. They wanted to stay here. Well, see, you have to realize, man, that the criminal justice system feeds itself. It feeds itself. It depends on the ignorance of folk to get them behind bars. You know, you have to have an attorney if you're really going to fight this criminal justice system. You have to have some money. And because they know most folk don't have money, they can treat them any kind of way. And they got to get in line behind all the people that's already been screwed over. So I don't fit the narrative. See, and I've known that, you know, from the early beginning, man. You know, my kid's mom abandoned me with 2 children. I don't know if she's dead or alive. I ain't seen my kid's mother in over 30 years. And I had to fill up enough love, man, to try to compensate for what they wasn't getting from her. You know, thank God, man, my mom and my stepfather was there to help me. Otherwise, I would have been lost with them kids, man. You see? And you got some people on here, and we'll get on here and actually, you know, demonize me because I don't know if my kid's mom is dead or alive. And see, being a single father in the '80s was a curse. Shit, man, they looked at you like you was a disease. You know, why a woman gonna go off and you must be a horrible person for the woman to go off and leave you with some children. Not that I took responsibility for my children, but they looking at the fact that, you know, I was left with two children and I'm a horrible person. And man, I'm doing my job as a father. I'm doing my part. See, you know, people talk shit about DC Public Schools. DC Public Schools did well by my children. Let me say that again. DC Public Schools did well by my children. Both of my kids went out of the country through DC Public Schools because I was walking them halls. See, I told my kids, whatever you need, let me know and I'll find it for you. Because I ain't have patience to do homework. And I know I ain't got the patience. So if I help you, I'm going to give you a learning disorder. So let me find somebody that enjoy this. And see, and I let them deal with the tutoring and all of the other stuff. You know, just tell me what you need and I'll go find it. Okay, and that's how I dealt with my kids. Tell me what you need. And by me constantly walking them halls, see, that's how I got my daughter in youth understanding. Her teacher say, Mr. Folder, get her involved in youth understanding. They send her all over the world. And I did. And my daughter went to Norway for 6 weeks. Okay, and all we had to do was get her passport and give her some spending money. They took care of everything else. And when my daughter came back, I told my son, get ready, you next. And they sent him to Brazil. Sure did. Sent my son to Brazil. So I have no complaints about DC Public Schools because I walked them halls. The reason two students now sit on the Board of Education in Washington, D.C. is because of my fight for my son. My son ran for the student representative. He followed all of the steps, was running unopposed. And then the day that he's supposed to be sworn in, another kid comes in with 10 other students. And they open back up the election, and that student won. And I said, y'all ain't treating my son like that. And I'm serious, man. I'm serious. And I went to court. And now there are two students that sit on the Board of Education in D.C. because of my fight for my son. That's why two students are now sitting on the Board of Education right now to this day in Washington, D.C. But I'm a con artist. I'm scamming people. And all I do is just get out here, man, and try to fight for what's right. That's all I try to do. It's just fight for what's right. You know, and people have a problem with that. You know, I ain't scared to speak up. And people have a problem with that. And I'll show you, man, when I ran for mayor, I wasn't scared. That didn't intimidate me. And I cut my teeth on John Ray. Seriously, I cut my teeth on John Ray as a politician. Because one day I spoke to Mr. Ray. I think it was like our second or third mayoral forum. I said, good morning, man. We was in church, too. I said, good morning, Mr. Ray. How you doing? He said, Mr. Folden, you're nothing, you're nobody, and you don't count. I said, what did you say? He said, you're nothing, you're nobody, and you don't count. We in church. And I looked at him, I said, motherfucker, you're going to regret that to the day you die. That's just what I told him. He said, motherfucker, you're going to regret that to the day you die. And I meant it. And every time I got a chance, Marion Barry didn't have to attack him. I was on his ass every time, and they was glad to see me come because I was in John Ray's head. And then this was the kicker. The day of the election, Backus Junior High School up on South Dakota Avenue was the busiest, back then, was the busiest precinct in the district. That was the busiest precinct. Everybody went to Backus. And so I go up to Backus. See, Mr. Ray's Carl Lawson Jr. was his campaign manager. And they used to have Sharon Pratt Kelly's people crying that they was intimidating them so bad. And they used to always be putting their hands on me. And I said, man, I don't mind y'all talking, but keep your hands off me. Stop touching me, please. Okay? Went to Mr. Ray, man, please tell your people, keep the hands off me. So I go up to Backus, and Fox 5 is following John Ray down in the alley. And when I saw Mr. Ray, he said, Mr. Folden, you're invited to my victory celebration tonight. And I looked at him, I said, man, the only thing I want from you is an apology. That's all I want from you. And one of his handlers tried to ease in between me and him. And in the bushes we went, man. In the bushes we went. I got my suit on and everything. In the bushes we go fighting. Because I told him, tell your people, keep their hands off me. So now, and this is all on the news. So now they get the breaking news that one of John Ray's handlers and one of the mayoral candidates get into a fight. At that time, John Ray was kicking Marion Barry's ass. Okay? Shoot. When that story came out, man, them folk came out in droves and started voting against. And John Ray was the first candidate in D.C. to ever raise $1 million. The first to raise $1 million. The very first. And he ran for mayor 4 times and lost all 4 times. Sure did. As a matter of fact, 94 was the last time he ran for mayor. See, so you know, this is the kind of stuff that I can share with these young kids. You see, I can, you know, I got some substance that I can give them. I got a school right now, man, that say they want to do a tour next week. And they lied to me. I sent them an invoice. They lied and said that they had paid it. I canceled it because you know you don't since you lied, you done said you done paid it, and I'm looking at it and saying that. So let me cancel it. So when I cancel it, we want to do the tour. Can we do the tour? So well, I got to find another bus because now the bus ain't available. So now, and you want it on a different date. Man, don't you know? I find the bus, send them the invoice, and they still ain't paid it. And I told the lady, I said, listen, if somebody booked me from under you, you short. If it's just one person that books a tour that pays me, I'm going to honor that. See, because you've been sitting on this stuff and you ain't serious. So one person booked my tour at the same, I'm not available. And I told him, I ain't available. I'm not available. Because I done gave you an opportunity, you lied to me and told me you didn't pay the invoice. And I know you ain't paid it. You see, so those are the kind of things, man, that you have to deal with. All I've asked folk was, man, donate a tour so I can get some of these young people and show them what I'm doing and show them how I'm doing it and how I created it. See, see, most of the tour guys that they get now can't tell them, man, these are the tours, this is how I created this. They ain't got no substance, man. They can't engage these kids. And this is what I'm trying to show y'all. I can engage them because I can say, man, let me tell you how I created my company. I started as a street vendor. Let me show you what ideas that I've come up with to try to encourage these kids, man, to get away from this violence. To get away from this stupidity. But I can't do it by myself. I can't do it by myself. And not only can I not do it by myself, man, but I get put down for begging, for trying to help some young kids to get them on the right track. And I'm begging. Ain't nothing else working. Why don't y'all give me a chance? You ain't got nothing else working, and they going buck wild crazy. Y'all ain't seen crazy, man. Wait till this summer comes. You gonna see crazy. See, because these kids gonna be off the chain. They off the chain already, and it ain't even got hot yet. So wait till it get hot, and it's gonna even be worse. All right, listen, y'all. I got y'all an hour in, almost an hour. So I'm gonna run over to Instagram, okay? And that's what I got to do for now until I get some money where I can go on both of them at the same time through my website. But right now, I got to do them one at a time. So YouTube, man, thank you for the support. Thank you for all of this, but I got to go over to some fertile ground that I done found. I've discovered when I went to New York, I had a little over 400 followers, and when I came back, I had over 1,200. So I picked up 800 people in a day. I've never done that. I've never done that. Ever. I've never had that to happen to me. So, I gotta go over here and work this ground and see what's in it. See what's there. I like YouTube, but YouTube's got a lot of crap with it. And you don't have a lot of the restrictions on Instagram that you have on YouTube. See, I've never got a copyright strike on Instagram. And I get them all the time on YouTube. You see, so let me go over there and see what's going on, y'all. Man, thank you. And, for all of y'all that's going to be out here faking the funk tomorrow, talking about Happy Easter, Y'all need to cut that crap out, man. Then cut that crap out. Everybody talking about Happy Easter. And no, from Friday to Sunday ain't no damn 3 days. You know that ain't no 3 days. And see, my question is, why is Easter Monday a holiday? That's what I want to know. Why is Easter Monday a holiday? Matter of fact, let me Google that and see what they say. Why is Easter Monday a holiday? See what they say. Let me see what they say. History of Easter Monday. It is a day that has been set aside to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. God dog. God dog. Well, if Easter Monday is set aside to celebrate the resurrection of Christ, why are you celebrating it on Sunday? I mean, that's a good question, ain't it? Damn, True Conductor, I ain't thought about it like that. If Easter Monday is a holiday, why are you celebrating on Sunday? Because from Friday to Monday is 3 days. Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. 3 days. That's 3 days. But you want to go from Friday to Sunday. 2 days. And you talking about Christ was in the ground 3 days. But you celebrating 2 days. Something wrong with that picture, man. Something's wrong with that picture. And you got a rabbit laying chicken eggs. Something's wrong with that picture. Oh, it's not a holiday for all of y'all? It sure is a holiday up here. It's a holiday in D.C. Easter Monday is a holiday. It's a holiday here. Sure is. Where is it not a holiday? It sure is a holiday in D.C. Easter Monday is a holiday, buddy. Sure is. I don't even think the banks be open Easter Monday. That's a holiday. Wow. Why is Easter Monday a holiday? I said, that's a good question. See, so you're going to have a lot of people out here faking the funk tomorrow. A lot of people done went in debt to go buy some new outfits just so they can go to church. A lot of people going to be trying to hook up tomorrow in church. A lot of people going to be trying to hook up tomorrow in church. Oh, you're going to have some women walking in there like they going to the club. Thongs showing and everything. And, that's in church, man. You got women coming in there with thongs showing in church. What kind of praise you trying to get on? And they be shaking them butts too, boy. And some of them be in front of you. They know what they doing. They know what they be doing. Yes, sir, buddy. In church. See, because there are some church whores. Let me say that again. There are some church whores, male and female. There are some church whores. That's what they do. They go around and they screw around with people in church. Because to them, those are the people that are saved. If they in church, they can be trusted. See, that's the sick mindset they have. If they in church, they can be trusted. Anyway, look here, y'all. I'm gone. I see you later. I got an hour in. See ya.